Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great because finally we're back. I know it's been like a week or a little more than a week since I uploaded. I'm sorry. Look, long story short, some personal stuff happened, had to deal with that. And on top of that, there really has not been anything to talk about. But luckily, when I have nothing to talk about, Harman Smith is always right there to comfort me and to give me stuff to talk about. And as you guys can probably tell from the title and thumbnail, he is basically downplaying the fact that Street Fighter 6 is actually a good game, using the classic method of calling anybody who gives the game a good review a paid shill. Although a few days after he made this video, I think it was made pretty clear why he's so mad and why he's so against Street Fighter 6. And that was when he uploaded a video titled Street Fighter 6 could easily run on the Nintendo Switch, where he spends pretty much the entirety of that video complaining that they didn't put it on the Switch even though he thinks it could run there. So yeah, I mean, it's like the old saying, the truth always comes to light. But anyway, yeah, without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get right into this.
10 out of 10, shrieks IGN. 10 out of 10, says the gaming corporate media. 10 out of 10, says the Capcom paid shills. Right now, we are seeing Street Fighter 6, a game that everyone is upset about. The follow-up to the hugely unpopular Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, I mean, Street Fighter 5 wasn't good at first. But just because Street Fighter 5 wasn't good on launch doesn't mean Street Fighter 6 is automatically bad on launch. But also, guys, I noticed we're missing something. He didn't do his intro. So, you know what? I'll do it for him. I have it memorized at this point. So, you know, let me give it my best shot. Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Lauren Frey, and the finally released Jaw of the Dragon, which Alex is reading tonight on stream, by the way. You should go watch that. Man, I think my Harman impersonation there might actually be better than his book. But getting back on topic, no Harman, there weren't paid shills for this game. Maybe the game is genuinely just good. I know that's hard to believe because in your mind, the only games that can be good are games that are on the Switch or games that are made by Nintendo, but it is true, there are multiplats that aren't on the Switch that are genuinely good games. There's one in particular I can think of that you've been complaining about for over a year now.
Be given 10 out of 10 perfect scores like candy. If corporate game reviewers are to be believed, this is one of the best games ever made. It's one of the best fighters ever. It's a solid new entry in the iconic Street Fighter franchise, and we know it isn't true, right? We all know going into this that Street Fighter is a dying brand. Capcom is desperately trying to keep it relevant, and they must have just thrown a bunch of money at reviewers to try and get people to buy into the game and play it. And
yeah, you know, Street Fighter is dying as Street Fighter 6 breaks a new record for fighting game concurrent player counts on Steam. For reference, the highest concurrent player count that Street Fighter 5 reached on Steam was, I think, like 15,000 or something like that. Street Fighter 6 has already hit like 66,000 concurrent players. And get this, it's been a week since the game came out and it's still one of the top sellers on Steam. The PC metrics alone prove you wrong on this point. And I actually just looked it up. In total, the game has sold over 1 million copies already. So yeah, I don't think Capcom has been throwing money at reviewers or anything. I think the game is just actually good.
I think there's going to be a very big dissonance between the actual player base and what critics are saying. I think there's going to be a huge pushback in some regard, like either from like the FGC or the community at large regarding this game. I think the change in direction is so drastic, there is no possible way this game is going to be popular, right?
I mean, I won't deny, I've seen on Metacritic there's been a pretty big pushback, especially under the Xbox reviews. But from what I've seen, a lot of the negative reviews on Metacritic are people complaining about the Battle Pass and saying that the story mode isn't very good. Then again, Metacritic is typically where you'll find review bombing, at least in my experience. But if you go to Steam, it has a 91% very positive rating. And if you go to the Xbox store, it has a 4.3 out of 5 stars. But can I just ask, what the hell would the FTC have to do with anything? This game isn't like breaking the law in any way, is it? Unless I missed something maybe. But why would the FTC care about Street Fighter 6 in the slightest? Sometimes I swear Harman has like a magical bag that he can just pull anything out of, but it's like completely random sentences and like phrases on pieces of paper. That's the only way I could conceive of the possibility of him coming up with some of the stuff he says.
Like, to me, it just seems like the gaming industry is desperately trying to maintain the illusion that non-Nintendo gaming is viable. that it's the big hot thing, and right now they're just desperately throwing money at like everything they possibly can, trying to get something to take off, something to become relevant, something to become popular, so they can use it to weaponize against Nintendo. Street Fighter 6 is shaping up to be a complete disaster.
It's shaping up to be a disaster? Yikes, that did not age well. But this is what I don't get about Harman. Every single thing that is non-Nintendo that is good is automatically being weaponized against Nintendo. I don't think anybody is comparing this game to anything on the Switch at all, besides maybe Smash. And how is this weaponized against, like, I don't understand. The only ways I feel like people could even have a conversation about this and Nintendo would be, one, comparing it to Super Smash Brothers, and two, it not coming out on the Switch. But here's my question: who is weaponizing this stuff? Like, this is what I don't understand. This is my question every single time. Who is weaponizing any of this stuff against Nintendo? And also, what do you mean that non-Nintendo gaming isn't viable? It very much is, and honestly, if Nintendo was the only platform to play your games on, we would be nowhere near close to where we are today. Honestly, if any one platform was the only platform available, I think gaming would kind of suck right now, not gonna lie. Well, I mean, gaming does suck right now, but whatever, you get my point.
And we went through this entire hype period, pre-release period, like, that being obvious to everyone, but nobody would admit it. And now that the game is actually out, and now that it's being like showered with perfect scores, showered with praise, showered with acclaim, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, why exactly am I going to take Street Fighter 6 seriously after what happened with Street Fighter 5, in which, game journalists, who would later go on to admit that they only played the game for about a week, looking at you, Stuttering Craig, would go on stage and try to say that, like, oh, Street Fighter 5, it looks exciting, guys. They're not gamers. They're not interested in, like, the game itself. They're interested in trying to sell you a product. They're interested in shilling for Capcom, shilling for this declining video game franchise, desperately trying to get you to buy into it. And
I don't think the reviewers are the ones trying to sell me a product. I think that's Capcom. The reviewers are just reviewing the product. Also, I looked it up. Street Fighter 5 got mid reviews from critics on both platforms. It got like a 77 on PS4 and a 74 on PC. Now look, I always say, don't fully trust the critics, always wait for the audience score. But it's not like the critics were praising Street Fighter 5 and giving it like 90s or whatever, and then we shouldn't trust them for this game. No, they gave Street Fighter 5 a lower score, and they gave this one a much deserved higher score. Because guess what? It is possible for a game to improve after a previous one was bad. And it's just so funny to me that he keeps saying, oh, Street Fighter's dying, it's a declining franchise. Meanwhile, it's doing better than it ever has on PC, and within a week, it's already sold over 1 million copies. And also, my guy, you talk a lot of crap about, oh, well, these reviewers are obviously paid, Street Fighter's in decline. Can you show me the analytics for that, please? Because a 5-second Google search will show you that Street Fighter is doing very well right now.
I think that gamers should be standing up for themselves. I think people should be distancing themselves from these classic fighting game IPs and drifting away more to, like, franchises that actually respect them, right? The only example of which I can think of is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? Mortal Kombat has gone downhill. Street Fighter has gone downhill. Dead or Alive has gone downhill. Like, the Arc System Works games have gone downhill.
Wait. So Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are classic fighting franchises, but Super Smash Bros. Isn't? Now, look, I understand Smash is a newer IP than Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but it's still over 20 years old. I would consider that a classic. I don't know about anybody else. And also, how does Super Smash Bros. Respect its fans, but Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat don't? Like, that's a genuine question. Nintendo hates its fans more than any other company I've seen besides maybe like Activision. I mean, obviously no company loves their fans. They all see their fans as cash cows. But God, sometimes it feels like Nintendo is trying to be as petty and sometimes as evil as possible. And I love how he's saying, oh, gamers aren't standing up for themselves. Have you not seen the reception to Street Fighter 5? People will absolutely stand up for themselves if they get a bad game. Obviously, there's gonna be people like you who will just bow down and take anything no matter what. But for the most part, I would say people have common sense, and if they don't like something, they will not buy it, and they will voice their complaints about it.
Like, why are we not just acknowledging that fighting games have gotten worse? And we don't really need them, honestly. Like, if you want to play a fighting game, like, you're better off just playing something that's already been released for a long period of time and just playing. What purpose do new fighting games serve? They're not expanding the lore in any meaningful way. They're not expanding the gameplay experience. They're not innovating. They're not doing anything. Like, I would rather just play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate forever and just get better at it with different characters.
You do realize that Super Smash Bros. Is the 5th game in the series, correct? Why would new fighting games come out? I don't know, maybe for new modes, new visuals, a new story mode, new characters, reworked mechanics and balancing. I don't know, man, why does any new game come out at any point ever? And it's so ironic that this is coming from Harman because, you know, again, the whole Super Smash Bros. Ultimate being the 5th game in the series thing. But on top of that, this dude is a massive Pokemon fan. And Pokemon is basically just Nintendo's Madden. Why do you keep buying the new Pokemon games? They're basically the same thing, right? But no, that's a Nintendo product, so of course you won't admit that. But yeah, anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna call it there. That's basically the end of his video. He just rambles on a little bit more, and I don't want to repeat myself or anything. So yeah, with that being said, I'm sorry again that it took me so long to make another video. Again, some personal stuff happened, and on top of that, there just hasn't been much to talk about. But fret not, assuming the Xbox showcase on Sunday is actually good, we will have plenty of salt to go over. Oh, and by the way, join me 12:30 p.m. Eastern time for that stream. We're gonna be reacting to it live, just hanging out, having a good time, and then if any big announcements come through, then we'll check in on some PlayStation fanboys and see how they're handling it. But anyway, guys, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.